The shocking truth has been revealed behind the biggest signing in franchise history for the Toronto Blue Jays, as some wild new details have emerged, revealing not only the real reason behind the Jays signing Dylan Cease, but some details that have huge implications going forward as they prepare for their next move. We're going to break that down and discuss what it means, as well as some details regarding how this move is even better than we initially thought. A ton to go over on this episode, as well as a bunch of other updates, folks. But before we get into it all, your guys' support has been absolutely fantastic. You guys have been absolute beasts with the support again. So thank you guys. It means the world to me, folks. It's nice to be back in my setup. I was obviously recording from my car yesterday. Unbelievable. Have a few hours now to kind of, 12 hours or so to recollect myself and figure out that, or realize even that this signing is way better than we thought. You can see here, in case you missed it, very briefly, 7 years, $210 million, Dylan Cease. Now, folks, this is a massive signing, and we're going to be diving into some of the new details that have emerged because, quite frankly, ladies and gentlemen, this signing is amazing. And there's a lot of people out there, especially from other teams, who are saying, hey, it isn't amazing, all these different things. Let's start with some of the first details that have emerged. Then we're going to dive into some of the reports from Schneider, Ben Nicholson-Smith, Keegan Matheson, and more. Multiple uploads coming for you guys today. But let's start with this. So initially came from Ken Rosenthal, revealing that this deal includes deferrals, amount not yet known. Shout out to Mitch Bannon on it with the scoop. The deferrals are expected to reduce the present value, AAV, annual value, of the deal to around $26 million per year per source. So it is the longest pitching contract in Blue Jays history. And of course, one of the biggest contracts they've ever handed out. So a few different things on this now. For one, this is a insane deal for the Jays because now it takes it from 200 plus million down to essentially what, if you do some math here, 26 and then over 3 years in the mid 180s, right? And of course, at that point, I love the deal. And of course, Dylan Cease is an absolute animal. It's about, I think, $182 million, whatever it is. He is an absolute freak. He is great. He obviously had a very, down year, unlucky year last year. But folks, you can see now that after adding Dylan Cease, Fangraphs depth charts projects the Blue Jays to have the 8th best rotation in baseball and the 3rd best in the AL. And of course, these are just projections, but it is a far cry from last year where they were the 24th best rotation. And before we get into some stats, there's a lot of reports revealing some, interesting details. Don't look at Dylan Cease's ERA. And a lot of people out there, especially other teams, are saying they paid $200 million for a guy who 1 year is great, next year is bad. Last year had a 4.55 ERA. There's so much under the hood for Dylan Cease that you really have to look at. Front offices don't look at just ERA anymore. They barely even look at ERA. They look at consistency, they look at the advanced analytics, and how they can form the pitcher into a better pitcher. And since 2021, he is 7th in innings pitched among qualified starters. He is great, and he's young. He's only 20, or last season was 29, going to be turning 30. And also, he had the worst defense, or some of the worst defense behind him last year, going from, a -7 outs above average now to one of the best defensive teams in baseball, which will surely help Dylan Cease. And of course, I'm sure that played a huge part in his, wanting this, or his willingness rather, to come to Toronto. We have some details in, the media on that too. But you can see here again, Cease finished 2025 with a 3.46 expected ERA. His expected ERA was a full run lower than his actual ERA. His FIP was good. His expected FIP was good. He got unlucky because of some unlucky BABIP, because of some bad defense. And you now line him up with some other pitchers once you, include the deferrals. Carlos Rodon, Sean Manaea, Sonny Gray, Nathan Eovaldi was a fantastic deal. It lines up really well, and it positions them to spend even more money. And this is a guy that the Jays have been after for a while. You can see here from Shadavidi, the right-handed Cease has long been a Blue Jays target as they tried to trade for him both before and after the Padres acquired him in 2024, including as recently as last offseason. They tried to trade with the Padres to get him. He was said to be impressed by the presentation, which was led by Pete Walker and Sam Green, made to him. And by the way, they answered the questions about how they could help him grow into a dominant number 1. So behind the scenes, obviously, you have Pete Walker, you have Sam Green, you have their coaching staff doing work. A lot of this is, hey, Dylan Cease was second in Cy Young voting in 2022, had a mid-2 ERA, or 2.20 ERA, was fantastic, right? Arguably the best pitcher in baseball, one of them. The Jays believe they can get him back to that stuff. Now, for as many, there's a couple contracts that the Jays have been over the years that haven't aged well, maybe. Most of them are pretty good. We think back to the Robbie Ray one with Pete Walker. Like, he can turn pitchers into really, really good pitchers with untapped stuff. Robbie Ray He, of course, was acquired by the Jays, not expecting much, right? Arizona, you get him and you turn him into a literal Cy Young winner, and then he goes on and is able to translate that further. And this also goes to show that, I mean, the Jays have potential here to break the MLB, right? And I say that loosely, but they now clearly have an organization, whether it be the facilities. Kevin Pillar was on Twitter yesterday saying the facilities are one of the biggest things. Whether it be the facilities, whether it be their coaching staff, whether it be because they had the best clubhouse in baseball, just almost won a World Series. They just made the biggest splash of the offseason thus far, and they got a guy who clearly wanted to be in Toronto. Now, would other teams have paid him this amount of money? Like, probably. The Athletic had a projection around this amount. Like, people were saying it's a ridiculous amount. This was about the projection from most analysts, and it's just the way the market is. People don't look, these front office guys don't just look at ERA, as you shouldn't, right? That's old news at this point. Has really good advanced analytics. His K rate's incredible. His velocity is held true. And he is one of the most durable pitchers in baseball. He's basically José Berríos, but throws absolute gas and strikes out a ton, but is as durable as José Berríos. And also now, you can see they're starting pitching. Cease, Gausman, Berríos, Bieber, Savage. Unbelievable. And Dylan Cease led the MLB in Ks per 9. He averages 11.5 strikeouts per 9 innings in baseball. They needed this. Their pitching staff, you look at it here, not many of those guys outside of, Gausman and Savage to a degree are strikeout heavy pitchers, right? And none of them throw absolute gas. Dylan Cease now clearly filled the need of a high velocity starting pitcher. He has some of the best advanced analytics in certain aspects in baseball, and they believe that they can turn his 5-pitch, 6-pitch mix. Of course, he is heavy four-seam and slider, right? His slider has a 41% whiff rate or something crazy like that. It's his best pitch. But you pair that with the fastball. You pair that with some of the other stuff that I'm sure Pete Walker, like they said in this meeting here, are going to go with. It is unbelievable. And something to keep in mind here. Keep in mind, the Jays have also engaged in back-end relievers as well. And there just doesn't stop their pursuit of Bo Bichette. We'll have a full video coming on this later. They're not done making moves. And pitching, however, like I mentioned in multiple videos, Ben Nicholson-Smith, Keegan Matheson on my show, was their top priority this winter, and Cease strengthens them in a major way. They're going to make another move. They're going to get another guy, and having Dylan Cease helps that. You now are showing Bo Bichette, hey, we're serious about this. We just spent $200 million, one of the best pitchers in baseball, or at least one of the best free agent pitchers, in baseball that was available this year. We're willing to go out and get the next guy. We're willing to, you can show Kyle Tucker, hey, we're willing to go all in. Teams are seeing that, and teams are taking notice. Cease, Savage, Gausman, Bieber, Berríos. This is one of the best rotations on paper this team has probably ever had since I started watching. Gage Stanifer will be waiting in the wings by midseason 2. Of course, the lefty prospect. I believe he's a lefty. Correct me down below if I'm wrong. They could theoretically go out, and is it likely they get Bo Bichette and Kyle Tucker at this point? No. Can they do it? Yeah. Could they get Kyle Tucker and then let Bo walk and make a trade for Ketel Marte? Yeah. You just got an elite starting pitcher. You don't have to make a trade for him. You get him through free agency, setting yourself up now through deferrals for a great contract that will age well. I'm confident in that just because of the fact that Dylan Cease pitches every single year, every single start. Unbelievable. And again, the Jays had been wanting him for a while. They now hope he can grow into a dominant number one. He is fairly young, approaching his age 30 season. Unbelievable stuff. An absolute fleece. And through the deferrals, through, of course, Pete Walker going behind the scenes, and some interesting advanced analytics on him. This is even better than we thought. And the truth has been revealed behind why why Dylan Cease is, of course, now a Blue Jay. But also, this is going to be huge for getting Bo Bichette back going forward. We're going to have tons of videos coming out later today. Make sure you're staying tuned for that. You guys mean the world to me. Cheers.